new to streaming here. I'm an experienced VRL driver, but I'm here with a familiar voice, Adam Burns. Hello, Adam.
Oh, good afternoon, Matthias, and good afternoon, everybody watching in on another exciting installment of the VRL qualifying trials. Of course, the main aim of these races, guys, is just to test out some of our new recruits, some of our newer applicants, racing against some familiar names and faces that you will have known to grow and love in VRL, just to find out what their pace is about, what their racecraft is like, and to see where they stack up in the pecking order for when we decide the confirmed rosters for VRL F1, VRL F2 and VRL F3 for Season 5.
Yeah, it's a new thing. This season is the first season we try it. Yesterday there were 2 quality trials as well. FVR Compassion won the first one, and I think Nick Pancras won the second one. And it was been a great day of racing with obviously Compassion just winning on the line because of penalties, and Nick winning by a couple of seconds, followed by Stijn and me. And I think in the first one it was, I don't know the first quality trial podium, but Theo Hazard TV asked, how do I join? If you're signed up, you probably got an invite already, so shouldn't be a problem to join. But here we are for the 3rd and 4th quality trial, again at Brazil. It's a good track, and we have a one-shot qualifying, so the drivers will only have one chance of setting a qualifying lap time, and if they don't set a lap time, they'll be starting further back on the grid. And there are a lot of new drivers. You see the VRL founder Philip Smith in the Red Bull. It's rumors that he's going back to his old team, where he won the championship in Season 1, and the drive and the team in 1 and 2. Plausible as well. Benjamin. Those are a little bit more experienced guys in VRL, and the rest is all new. Where they sign up, it's already been done the last week, so I don't know if you can sign up again. We're just waiting. I think a couple of guys will still join. Then we'll be racing at them.
Well, I think for those of you asking in the chat, where can I sign up? Of course, do check out the VRL social media pages on Twitter and Instagram. You can check those out on Vision Racing League for both, for Instagram, and of course VRL PS4 on Twitter. Just make sure to check out the bios and be able to go to the website, which is visionracingleague.witsite.com, and you'll be able to go on there and sign up. Of course, as we said, we've received over 100 sign-ups, which is amazing for an online league. Very, very impressed with what we've seen so far, and of course with the high caliber of drivers that we do tend to have. And I stressed this point yesterday, we are dealing with a lot of guys in this community, if you like, that are amongst the upper echelons of the esports series, and definitely 1 or 2 in particular could definitely give some of the professional esports drivers a run for their money. They are that good. But I would recommend to you guys, if you are new to this and you're watching this for the first time, definitely log on to the social media pages, go onto the website. You'll be able to see the sign up form. It's still not too late. There are always going to be spots available, and even if you don't get in to VRL F1, F2 or F3, of course there'll be 60 spots available, some of which would have been occupied by our seasoned veterans and other drivers that we know and love in this community. There are always going to be opportunities for you new guys out there. So if you're keen on getting involved in racing, you want to join a league, and of course if you fancy yourself a bit for pace, definitely log on to VRL, definitely look into the social media pages, give us a follow, and it's about your interest really. We'd certainly love to increase this community, and of course I am massively excited, Matthias.
I am as well.
F2 last season, of course it was a brilliant campaign. Myself watching content in F2, of course F1, we had that championship battle
to the last
race, which of course was won by Sem, and the F3 League coming up, Matthias. Of course, you being a familiar face in VRL F2, the F3 League is going to be, yes, and F1 of course. The F3 League is going to be very, very exciting. So a lot of new names we're going to be expecting to see, some of which we're seeing in the lobby today. And this is a great opportunity that I mentioned before, that
to show their pace.
A lot of these guys, exactly, a lot of these guys are going to be competing against familiar names like Philip Smith, our Season 1 champion, and of course winner in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. At the last race of the VRL F1 season, we've got Plajabol there, very much a regular name in VRL F1. Of course, you and I both know him very well from our times in other online leagues as well.
Yeah.
We've also got Benjamin R Double Gamer, another protagonist in the VRL F1 as well. So a lot of esteemed names in this order, but a lot of newer guys as well. So as a driver yourself, Matthias, and a commentator, because you seem to be a jack of all trades, what advice would you be giving to some of these new drivers if they want to be competing in VRL, and how to match up against these experienced drivers?
Well, you got to know the track a couple of days before, so I think they've done quite some practice already, but it's a short race. It only takes 25 minutes maximum. 25% is around 18 laps around the Carlos Pache circuit, but I would give that advice just to do your own thing if you're new. Experienced guys have the advantage that the admins know them, but if you're new, just do your own thing. Try and be clean, because that is where the admins are looking for clean, fast and fair drivers. And don't cause an accident, just do your own thing and do the best you can. And what I had yesterday, I was really surprised I finished P3 and got a pole.
No, it was a good job nonetheless. I mean, as we were saying off air before we came live, Matthias, I thought it was slightly a bit aggressive on that move to defend from Stein, but nonetheless, it was a good drive from you. And before we get underway for one-shot qualifying, guys, just a quick plug for our new sponsors, IGK Esports.
Yeah.
For some of you that may be familiar to them, a very, very good esports community, very, very good team of people. Of course, our new sponsors for this season as well, amongst the likes of Hot Lap Mode, of course, as you all know and love Hot Lap Mode, some of the best guys in the biz for all the latest content for F1 racing. So make sure to check them out, and check out IGK Esports as well. Make sure to check them out on Instagram, Twitter, give them a follow, show them some love, and looking forward to an exciting partnership with them for the season.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we are about to get underway for one-shot qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. A simple method of qualifying. You get one shot, one opportunity. It's mum's spaghetti time to go out and put your fastest lap possible, and of course stay within the track limits, guys, because if you go over them, it's strict corner cutting rules and your lap will be invalidated and you will end up at the back of the grid. Of course, not a big as punishment as we'd normally expect, Matthias, given that we've got a smaller lobby than usual, but nonetheless you want to be up near the front, especially here at Interlagos at Brazil. Especially,
it's a short track, and as you said, track limits is quite strict here, especially the Senna S's and the final couple of corners. You want to find the edge, but not over the edge, because then you'll start at the back of the grid. And we are starting here, as we'll have Pluisel and Philip Smith taking the lead into turn 1, actually, so he is looking good. Let's try and follow him there. Philip Smith is a Season 1 champion. He's one of the most experienced guys on the grid, and he'll be looking to get another win maybe, because he won the last official championship round in Abu Dhabi. His first win in over a year, I think. After being stolen from it in Season 3, he's still leading as EVR, Sam retired, and Kinkiski as well, so they must have got over the limits of their car. And look how good Phil is going. He is still on provisional pole. Mana Antunes is in P2, surprisingly good. Benjamin in P3. Now coming around the final official really corner. Here's the one where you can lose the car on the exit, but Phil keeps it tight. Now I want to hug the inside here. You can gain a lot of time. That cost me my pole position. I wanted there. Look how close it is to the line, and it's going to be a 169. Wow. What an amazing lap. What an amazing lap from Phil.
Indeed. That is the fastest lap that we've seen in this qualifying trials by some margin from Philip Smith. They're almost half a second faster than the time that Korechka set yesterday in qualifying.
And my time, 6
and of course yourself, Matthias. But I mean, that's a great qualifying session, and considering, guys, that normally time trial laps, I was having a look at the leaderboard, and Phil Smith set a time trial trap in the low 1:06s, I believe, or pretty close to the time he set there. So to do that in an online lobby, that is amazing. And for one-shot qualifying as well. And Philip Smith back in the Red Bull, where, as you pointed out, Matthias, won his first title in VRL, back where he feels he belongs amid all the controversy over leaving the Mercedes teams for next season. But I'll tell you what,
Sadly.
If the new drivers wanted to see what the standard was if you want to compete with the upper echelons of VRL, that time right there from Philip Smith is exactly what is needed in order to compete. And he's a bit of a qualifying maestro. We showed that a few times last season, and he's certainly shown everybody what he's about. Now, of course, relieved of his admin duties that he's taken on for such a long time in VRL, being the founder, of course, and making it what it is today in a strong part. But he's now relieved of that, and he's going to be focusing on his driving. As you can see, Matthias, clearly, it's doing him some good.
Yeah, I know what he's feeling right now. Starting for pole, it's the best way to start on the grid, obviously. You have a clear air in front of you. What you want to do is get a good traction off the line and try and cut off Manor into turn 1. You can go side by side, but I think if he gets the right start, he can go clear into turn 1 and go off in the distance. And I think Bruisel and Aardappel are trying to maybe pass Manel in the early stages of the race, as they are both really fast drivers. But I'm actually surprised by Manel that he's got so fast, and maybe 5/10 behind, but it's still P2 as we're going to do the formation lap.
Yes, of course. For you guys out there new to VRL, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel out a lot. Try and see if we can get 300 subs, past 300 subs for the year. That will be the target for this season. Of course, we hit new heights last season with the introduction of our F2 division, which yours truly was very, very happy and proud to commentate on. But of course, be looking to get involved for another exciting installment of that. But for this race, Matthias, obviously you were competing yesterday at the Brazilian Grand Prix. One of the favourites of many drivers in the online Formula 1 racing community and drivers alike. Any advice that you could stall for some of our inexperienced drivers in the midfield of this order in terms of how they deal with it and how they compete in race? Because of course we're not looking for just pace. We're going to be looking for
clean, fair racing.
We're looking clean, fair racing. And speaking of clean, fair racing, we see SMA has been disqualified on the formation lap. Not sure what he did there.
Yeah.
But
here,
not a good start for him.
No, especially not. You saw the predicted pit stop strategy. Pit lap 9 and go to the mediums if you start from the soft. That will be the one to go. And you saw the soft hards as well. Yeah, someone else got disqualified.
So I'm not sure if we'll need to restart.
No, they just got disqualified from the formation lap.
Ah, right. Let's see, now that's confusing because we didn't have that on last year's game, and that's throwing me completely off. Thank goodness for that. I was worried we were going to be losing 2 more drivers. Almost the same as what we had in the US Grand Prix back in 2005, for those of you old enough to remember that.
No, I'm not that old.
Well, I mean, I wasn't too disappointed. I mean, I was a Michael Schumacher fan, but in terms of a spectacle, it was awful. But
where we are, it's 5 red lights. Oh, and it's a bit glitching. Hubba. It's glitching again.
Well, I haven't seen the lights on my screen.
Oh,
but,
Phil is away. He gets a good start off the line, and Menno in P2. What a fly from the Williams of Pluisable already takes P2. Phil clean through turn 1. Pluisable takes P2 already into Manel, and Benjamin fights off the Alpha Tower of MK17. Benjamin and Pluisable into P1 and P2 and P3, and here Benjamin and MK17 side by side. Manel lost 3 places after turn 1 and 2. And it's good to see Phil getting clear away from turn 1.
Well, they all get away relatively cleanly, Matthias, and it looks like Manu Antunes got bogged down off the start, did not get a good getaway. And
Side by side. Oh! SMA.
Got completely jumped there by the likes of Aardappel Game and Pluisable. Aardappel Game, and we've seen many times in our experience a very good man on the opening lap making up position into top 3, but Phil Smith getting a good getaway as expected. Pluisable doing an excellent start, moving up into second place as they now go up the hill, and Phil Smith leading the way as expected. Can he continue his good pace in qualifying and translate that to the race? Can Pluisable, a driver we both know is very handy in race conditions over qualifying, can he keep him honest and give him a bit of a race today?
Yeah, Manel trying to push to MK17. Same for Sam, but in the comments said Manel lost his car in turn 2, but look how close SME is as well. They are he's side by side with the Red Bull Shadow Gamer. Make contact into turn 2 and got pushed off track. So not too fair by those 2 guys, but Manel close to the gearbox of the Alpha Tauri of MK17. Phil clear away 4/10 in front of Plausible, who's using overtake on this short straight, and he's followed by Benjamin and MK17 in 4th place. But look how close they are. They're fighting for 4th place at the moment.
And of course, that's a new feature that you've just mentioned, Matthias, the overtake button.
Yeah.
As we can see, as just watching the battle for 7th and 8th. Yeah, but the overtake button, of course, a new addition to this installment of the Formula 1 game, which gives drivers the opportunity to use that extra bit of boost, a bit like the KERS system from back in 2009, to give you guys a little bit of extra boost, a little bit of engine mode to really attack the car in front. But of course, it does drain your battery, so you have to use it carefully, because you end up with no power, and that's something you're going to need. But Phil Smith trying to break DRS
side by side in turn 1. SME is trying to go for it, but he tucks him behind. Is he going to send one down the inside? No, he tucks him behind turn 1. Manel already a time penalty, so that's really early, and that might ruin his race. As you see now, Manel's still close behind MK17.
Well, strict corner coming, but SMA now going to the inside of the battle for 7th. This time he's going to try and go for the move, but he's lost a bit of his front wing end play. I think he drove into the back of Shadow Gamer early on the last lap. That's why he's lost it. These guys have got to be careful, because they're relatively new to VRL, and whilst it's a good opportunity to impress, they need to keep it clean and avoid too much
going down the inside.
Oh, and he's going to send him a bit of a spin.
Contact.
Oh, and he's gone for spin.
The Renault.
He's taken the Renault with him. It was a passenger in all of that. Unfortunately, SMA, well, I'll tell you what, those two were getting very argy-bargy with Shadow Gamer, and it was only going to get worse until eventually that happened. And unfortunately for Pusha 7, he really ended up being a passenger in that incident. But thankfully it's reduced damage, so it won't be too bad for them. They'll be able to recover this, but I'll tell you what, not the best of starts for those guys there. But we're up to lap 4 now. Philip Smith increasing the gap, cannot quite shake Plunchebolt off just yet. Still within DRS, as is R Gamer behind him. So the three of them pulling each other along nicely, with MK17B ahead of Manuel Antunes, who is trying to recover after starting on the front row, getting a poor giveaway with EVR Sam in 6th position in the racing point.
SME is into the pits, but that's obviously logic, as he lost his front wing end play. But Manel really putting the pressure on MK17 and going really wide and almost touching his left rear tire as MK17 locks his left front up. But this is a tricky corner on the exit. It's a traction zone, this one as well, and he's trying to settle his car for the main straight and use that overtake button. Both have quite a lot of ERS to play here. He is 6/10 beyond. I don't think that's enough to do an overtake. I think Sam is more likely to overtake Manel, as Sam has an absolutely amazing exit, and he's now enabling overtake, as you saw him doing on the steering wheel, but I think he's too far away still. But he's closing up 4.5 tenths right now to the Mercedes of Manuel Antunes. As Phil broke the DRS. Oh, MK17 spun!
Yeah, he's lost it. He lost it coming out of turn 2, Matthias. And it's a very difficult area, traction zone there. And he completely lost it there. It wasn't under the most amount of pressure for Manuel Antunes, but clearly he lost his concentration just a fraction. And that is enough to send him spinning off. And that's how easy it is. Even on the current Formula 1 game, with the improved handling model, a bit more stability, it's still very easy to lose your concentration.
Yeah, I probably did it on the traction. Yeah, Phil broke the DRS to Plausible, and Benjamin is just behind 1 second of Plausible. Is now 8 tenths behind, so he is pushing to get the DRS still. But this now leaves Manuel in P4 and Sam in P5. They are now trying to overtake them, as there is a battle between King Giski and Shadow Gamer, and MK17. King Giski gets a little bit wavy on the exit, but here MK17, he has damage on his end plate, left front end plate, after getting sent him to spin by his own traction control, and I think he's going into the pit. So is he going to set? He goes into the pit, so not a regular pit stop yet this race. 2 for damage from SME and King Giski. Sorry.
Well, one trend that we're seeing, Matthias, and clearly SME wasn't watching the race yesterday, because he would have noticed, he's put on the hard tyres, but he would have noticed that a few drivers in particular, Compassion being one of them, put on the medium tyres very early into the race, and he managed to hold on to them quite well. So SMA on the harder tyres probably could have done with putting the mediums on, but further up front, Matthias, Phil Smith breaking the DRS on the last lap, he was 7 tenths faster than Pleasure second place. But crucially, without DRS, Pleasure was not able to close up to Phil, hence the big gap. But what it's also done now is allowed Ardapple Gamer, who did stay within a second of Pleasure to now close up to Pleasure because Pleasure he's lost the rear end a little bit here. Ardapple Gamer's going to get a move. He's going to have a long run down the back straight now. We're going on board, just going on board with the McLaren driver. Will activate DRS. He hasn't activated the overtake button. He has now. He's going to pull alongside him. They both go to the left. Oh, I'll tell you what, that was very, very risky. But Ardapple Gamer sizing the move up.
Has he got it side by side?
He does give him some room though, Ardapple Gamer, and I think it's going to be crucial. Who gets DRS? Will it be Ardapple Gamer? No, it's Pleasure versus DRS, and that may allow him to maintain the position. So that is excellent driving from both drivers there. Look, for all the world, Ardapple Gamer was going to get the move done, but he just gave him a little bit too much room into turn 2. Pleasure laid on the brakes, managing to defend a position, but yeah, just crucially losing that DRS to Phil Smith has really put Pleasure on the back foot now. Ardapple Gamer all over the back of him like an ugly rash, and Phil Smith now galloping off into the distance, managing his pace, obviously using that new Fanatec rig that he bought a while back to good use, and I've used those myself in the past and they are absolutely brilliant. So no wonder he's so fast at the moment, but of course he was pretty quick to begin with, so watch out for Phil in season 5, guys.
Yeah, amazing scenes from those two side by side, turn 1 and turn 2. Benjamin is trying to give it another go. This time I think it's going to be close. He's probably going to send one down the inside. He's still tucking behind Pleasure as he has a massive lockup on his left front tire. Benjamin might now wants to give it a go onto I don't know those corner names, you probably do better than I am. As look how close, turn 3. He's still going to send one down the inside. Oh,
they bang wheels on, he lost control. Oh,
Pleasure has been spun around. Oh no, that's a shame.
Oh, that is a shame, and two of our more experienced drivers there just got a little bit loose there. I didn't really see it from Pleasure's angle, but it looked like Ardapple Gamer braked a bit late, and perhaps the move wasn't there, but he certainly went for it.
Oh, the Red Bull and the McLaren are going at it. Bargeboards in the air again between Shadow Gamer and King Giski.
But yeah, just going back to Ardapple Gamer, they sort of banged wheels and it caused the McLaren to get a little unstable. Ended up going into the Williams again, sending Pleasure in the spin. To be honest, I didn't see it from the broadcast camera, but on Ardapple Gamer, it didn't look like he did too much wrong. But obviously the stewards won't be reviewing it too much, especially
Benjamin
for
in the pits.
But Benjamin goes into the pits. I was just going to say before though, Matthias, he'd learned his lesson from the last lap. He waited, hence why he didn't go to turn 1 for the move. He waited for the second DRS, but yeah, translated into a very late move there. I'm not sure the stewards are going to be too worried about this. As we said, two experienced drivers who we expect to see in VRL F1 next season. So I'm pretty sure they'll just dust that one off as a racing incident for now.
Yeah, Benjamin sending it down the inside, but I think maybe it's a bit like a similar incident with me and Stein, but luckily me and Stein's incident didn't end up in a collision. But I think Max or Pleasure could have left a little bit more space, but I think it's just a racing incident. As Benjamin got into the pits, he rejoins in P6. He is only 8 tenths behind Pleasure, who also pitted, so places has been swapped again. And now trying to re-overtake him, but hopefully this time without an incident. Mano and Shadow Gamer are going for it.
Yeah, they must have had damage, hence why he's ended up behind Pleasure because he was ahead of him.
Phil into the pits. Leader.
Yeah, so Phil's into the pits. And Phil doing the job he needs to do so far, coming into the pit lane, shouldn't be any problem at all. Just a quick change of tyres. Also on the medium tyres, following the race strategy. Clearly no need to go for an undercut or to rush anything, and there you go. Very conveniently out.
Sorry to interrupt you, Adam, but Mano and Shadow Gamer are going for it, and Shadow Gamer goes into the pit for his first pit stop. And Manel has an absolutely mega strategy back in P3 after doing a little bit of an undercut and also having profit from the crash between Pleasure and Benjamin. And look
it's going to come out right behind EVR Sam. Ooh. So this has worked out very nicely for these two drivers. Of course, not overly familiar names in VRL as far as I understand it, but two drivers, obviously having different races to the likes of Plajabo and R Double Gamer, and of course Phil Smith well out in front. But as we said before, they've been keeping it clean, managing their races, and very well used the strategy to put them into second and third position, and deservedly so. But of course, Plajabo and R Double Gamer, a few seconds behind, right next to each other on the track. The final few laps of this race will get very interesting between these four.
Yeah, SME and HSH7 are also going at it, but I think Benjamin is trying to this time get a clean overtake on the Williams of Plausible, and this time don't have contact. He's 8 tenths behind. That won't be enough for a pass into turn 1 or the center, as he has to get a good run on him and maybe try it into turn number 3 or 4. He's now 5 tenths, 4 tenths behind, 4.5. Both lock up their tires going into turn 1, but here Plausible has to get his run right. Exit is good, 6.5 tenths now. What can he do? I think he has to get, yeah, he has. Benjamin is too far away with 5 tenths, and he has to wait another lap, I think, as SME and HSH7 are going for it, and they touch a little bit. Left rear tire has been touched by the Mercedes, and he now switches around the outside of him into turn number 3. As they are still subside, I think Hasa overtakes button available, pushes him around the outside. Really wide.
I'm not sure if that was a bit of lag or decent between those two, but Husha really shoving SMA, really squeezing him out wide there to make sure he got that move done. Perhaps a bit too much there.
Oh, they make contact.
Well, they make contact, but SMA's been very aggressive on the brakes as Phil Smith sets the new fastest lap of the race of 1:08.4. Some guys can't even do that kind of time in qualifying, let alone in the race. I mean, that is incredible pace from Phil Smith. He's almost showing off. Oh, and now Husha and SMA still hitting each other. I'll tell you what, SMA has been in the wars today, and whilst his pace has been admirable in some regards, it will not be impressing many people at the in the admin community for VRL.
No.
They're watching him having too many contact incidents.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. As now, Manel is 2.5 tenths behind EVR Sam, and in the background you see still Benjamin, MK, and Plausible going at it. As look how close Manel is now as to the pink Mercedes, to the 2020 Mercedes against the 2019 Mercedes, you can almost say.
The old tracing point.
I like it.
But it's good stuff between these two. Just speaking back, SMA's overtaking Husha now into turn 1. Good move round the outside. So obviously I was talking about him being a little bit too aggressive in his defending. Should compliment him. It was a very, very good move. So well done on him. Should be noted to get 7th place. But going back to the battle for 2nd and 3rd now, EVR Sam trying to fend off Manuel Antunes. Manuel Antunes, a 4th Mercedes driver.
Yes, the run.
Mode, engage, goes to the right hand side to attack because EVR goes to the outside to defend. Very late on the brakes for EVR. Can he get the move?
And Manuel's been spun around.
Oh my god. I don't know if they touched, they might have done, but it's completely unsettled him, carrying a lot of speed into turn 1 now. He's going to have to fend off Plajabo or R Double Gamer, who are having a battle of their own, but Plajabo pulls to the left-hand side. Should be a very easy move for him to get into 3rd position, and he does. So Manuel Tunas looking to try and get into 2nd, ends up going down to 4th, and it could be 5th because R Double Gamer pulled back from him a little bit, but he's right up the gearbox of that Mercedes in front of him.
Yeah. 3 are really close, and they're catching up to Sam quite quickly. So let's see what they can. Is it going to be a 4-way battle for P2 as Phil 10.3 seconds into the lead? This will be one of his most dominant victories, and I think he could be proud of himself if he makes it a clean race.
He's been having a nice Sunday drive out there, and it's
Sunday drive.
To be honest. But it's encouraging to see. I mean, it's hard to compare Phil's pace with some of the leading protagonists in VRL. Of course, we've got Plajabo and R Double Gamer in and amongst them to compare, but they've had their incidents, so they're a bit out of sync. But nonetheless, his pace today has been very impressive. And I'll tell you what, back in the Red Bull, back in familiar territory where he's happy with, very good chance if he keeps his pace up all season, doesn't have the internet issues he had before, he may become the VRL's first double champion in F1. It's possible. And
Will be good.
I'll tell you what, it would be great to see if he does manage him. He's certainly showing everyone that he is a man that means business this season.
Yeah, Plausible really close to the back of the racing point of EVR Sam Thompson. Mano going a bit wide on the exit here. This maybe allows Benjamin to get closer to him. And it's starting to form a train. Maybe Sam can't keep on to the pace of Plausible, Antunes and Benjamin. As
well, we said this battle was going to get interesting towards the final laps of this race, Matthias. So I'm going to put the question to you now. With 4 laps to go, who's your money on to get second place?
Plausible. I think he has to. Yeah, I think Benjamin still has to pass Manel, and he is not an easy one to overtake. And I think maybe Plausible can get it on the line as he gets a 3-second time penalty by cutting turn 1. And now Manel is close to the back of him, but Plausible as well has DRS on the racing point, so they will suck behind the racing point. Is leading the train, so it's a pink train. It's a Mercedes engine train.
Well, it will be next season.
Yeah,
with
it will
McLaren
be.
Obviously taking Mercedes engines in 2021.
Benjamin is falling a bit back. He's 7/10s right now, but
I've been looking at his onboard, Matthias, and he's conserving quite a lot of battery. He's staying within the DRS of Manuel Antunes. He's managing his tyres, managing his battery. Of course, his tyres are a little bit older than EBR Sam's. I'm thinking Ben is just biding his time and waiting for something to happen ahead of him. Of course, experienced that himself earlier on in the race and waiting for it to unfold. So keep an eye out for him in the last few laps, because he may start to make his move very soon. I mean, he's going to have to.
Yes.
He hasn't. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that one unfolds. But it's looking pretty tasty.
Plausible might go for the move. He's really close. Sam defends from the inside. Is he going to do a slingshot around the outside? Probably now try and do a switchback after the center as into the first straight on the lap, as he's 1.5 tenths behind EVR Sam. Now I'll probably use overtake. DRS now trying to go one around the outside of turn 4. Now switch around the outside. Sam holds the inside. It's clean racing this time. Still side by side going up to the hill into turn 5. Can he hang on to it? Plausible? Yes, yes, he's overtaken Sam with a very clean move.
Well, it's excellent driving from both drivers there. We've seen incidents where drivers have gone into turn 4 like that and it's all ended in tears. Not this time. EBR Sam has had a few incidents today, but he's been excellent in his defensive driving, and of course very, very clean and fair, and that's what the admins want to see. May not be keeping the position, but well, of course they've got the time penalty for Plausible, so if you can stay with him, he'll get that place back and stay with him.
Absolutely true there.
Manu Antunes and Ardapple Gamer now behind him. We're about to approach 2 laps to go as Philip Smith crosses the line. Granted, Philip Smith has lost it. Oh, Philip Smith's gone off the road there, Matthias. I'm not sure what happened to him there. Yeah, he's just reset to track. So
Sam going for that. Plausible holds on the inside. It's going to be no contact. Look how close it is from the camera, from the helicopter. Really close, but fair racing, inches away from contact there. As he's now going to send one down the inside where he defended last lap. He's going to slingshot one down inside. Max on the outside still hangs on to it. Still quite side by side with his front wing, hangs on to it. Can he hang on to it on the right hander though? He can't. He tucks him behind the Williams of Plausible. Amazing scenes by those two.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Phil Smith there. I don't know if it looked like he went off at turn 1 and reset to track, or I mean, Phil sometimes when he gets a little bit bored, he likes to have a bit of fun. I mean, it's only just for a bit of fun for him. Of course, some of these guys suspect getting into VRL is a bit different. I have to ask him about that later on after the race, what happened to him there. But yeah, as you were saying, excellent driving. There seems to be a lot of traction on the outside of turn 4, but Plausible went there to be able to get the position. It's good to see EVR Sam still keeping him honest now. We're approaching the final lap of the race.
It's going to be close. I think Benjamin has now a lot of energy in his McLaren, as Sam is really, really close to the back of the Williams of Plausible, as they're now approaching maybe one of the final overtaking opportunities. Still have 2 or 3 overtaking opportunities on this lap. I think he has to run him in, going to send one again down the inside of turn 4. Has he got the run down him? Still side by side right now. He's in front, but not enough to square him out. He has
Benjamin
made the overtake done. And Benjamin as well.
Got the move done. Got into turn 4.
Oh, they make a little contact, Plausible and EVR Sam. As they're now.
He's in a bit of a pickle here, Matthias, because Plausible's trying to get ahead to boost the gap, but he's going to lose so many places with that time penalty, if I'm right. And of course, that is it's going to be chaos going over the line. Benjamin's got all that battery to use, but he's now using it all, but he's running out of time to do it. But now as Phil Smith comes through the final corner, Matthias, and
he wins it.
Very comfortable performance from him. Excellent job. Phil Smith wins.
Well deserved. Who's going to take it? Is it going to be one on the line? Sam has it, and I think he'll stay on P2. Benjamin goes P2 without any penalties.
No,
Plausible 2,000ths of a second, yeah.
And so did Manuel Tuna as well, looks of it. Oh yeah, of course he had penalties at the start of the race, so
yeah,
well, there you go. Benjamin bided his time, didn't really have to make many overtakes. He's got second place, so good job from him. Looking further down the field now, SMA, man who's been in the absolute wars and then some, certainly will have a few fond memories of this race. Despite a few bits of contact, put a great move to get into 7th position around the outside of turn 1, and will take 7th position in the Mercedes. King Kissy coming through in 8th, Pusher in 9th, and Shadow Gamer will eventually round off the order in 10th position. But not a bad little race that was, Matthias, I've got to say.
He retires.
Yeah, I thought so. But no, what a good little race that was.
Yeah,
certainly
amazing scenes.
The man of the moment, Phil Smith, despite the off, drive for the day, Evie or Sam, well, that's debatable, to be honest. I mean, the game tends to recommend the driver that makes up a few places, but it's this man that I would give driver of the day for this race.
Yeah.
It's Phil Smith.
Amazing job.
Fantastic qualifying. It's got to be said, that lap cannot be understated in qualifying. That was absolutely incredible. Will this be a sign of things to come? Spraying the champagne over Adrian Newey in the Red Bull colours. Will Phil Smith become the first double VRL F1 champion? It's certainly looking good so far.
Who knows?
And, maybe this will be his season. We will see.
Yeah, it's been an amazing race. It's been a pleasure to do this with you, Adam, and I think we'll do the second one in a couple of minutes time as well, as Philip Smith wins the third quality trial this weekend, followed by Benjamin by only 7.4 seconds. Big gap between him and Phil. Sam and P2, good race from him then, in all perspective. Good defending and attacking. Plausible P4, I think he won't be really happy with it, as I think he could have done more. Mana, I think he could be happy with this P5 after starting in P2. MK17, strong in P6. SME had a little bit of a tricky race. HSA as well. Can just get some incidents, and Shadow Gamer 12 seconds of time penalty and a DNF, and Phil says his brakes failed twice, so still dominant victory.
Why. Yeah, because he did lose a bit of time before that incident, turn 1. I only caught him going off at turn 1, and clearly his brakes having a problem with them, so obviously we need to try and get that fixed for the season. But as I said, I have seen that Phil is using a new Fanatec rig, and as impressive as it looks, obviously those brakes can be quite fiddly. You need to get used to them, but yeah, so that was the first race. And of course, guys, don't go anywhere, because we are about to get underway for our second race, which will start momentarily. So stick with us, we've got our second race to come in just a moment.
Yeah, it's been a good race. Yeah.
Good moves. Of course, a few drivers having a few incidents more than others. Of course, Shadow Gamer and SMA having a few. Also with Hesha as well. But yeah, and this is.
Oh, this lobby is full. Like to see it.
A few more drivers in this one. But yeah, as we were saying before, it's important to know that, of course, we're not just looking for pace here at VRL. Rather, that is important. You do need to be fast. But we do need the drivers to be safe. We do need them to show that they can race well. And of course, you're going to get incidents where mistakes happen, collisions happen. But if you're actively seen to try to race without causing incidents, that is different to driving into the back of someone carelessly or not managing. Because those things can happen so easily, and they happen more often than you think. So it's important for these guys to make sure they can demonstrate that they're capable of not causing those incidents and racing fairly. So hopefully we'll see some more of that in this race, and
we're already
looking
starting.
at a few of the names.
Kerem
Looking at
again
a few
in
of the
it.
names in this one. Yeah, Kerem certainly gets about in this. Did a decent job yesterday, and he's racing again today. So, but yeah, another tasty looking roster again, Matthias. So a few more familiar names that you would recognise in that one. Any guys in particular that you'll be looking out for in this one?
I think Thomas, Sam, reigning VRL champion, Kerem as well, and Ice-T. I think Sam is the big favorite for this one, as he's the reigning VRL Season 4 champion. And I
Well, I'll
think...
be looking forward to seeing how he gets on with Darth FIFA.
Yeah.
Obviously, our former EuroLeague champion that we know as well. So, plenty of champions in online series in this particular race. The Darth FIFA, of course, a racer in VRL as well that we know. So, looking forward to seeing how they get on. Of course, we've got Ice-T back in this drive as well, the runner-up for VRL F2, a man that I personally felt a little sorry for, not able to take the crown at the end of the season, but I tell you what, he was a worthy champion all the way through the season. It just was not his day. Of course, back again for another crack at it.
Yeah.
Not sure if he's going to be an F1 or F2, but certainly would be a worthy driver in either category.
Yeah, I think as we're now starting the qualifying lap, going on board with Thomas, let's see what he will do, as he looks a little bit up his tire, as it's all switching up into the front. It's just Chris F1 now into the lead.
Yeah, well, we see a lot of familiar names in this series, and at the moment it's the Keke Jensei into turn 4 that currently has the Mercedes. This order's going to change quite a lot. Don't expect there to be an outstanding driver to take the pole like Philip Smith did. I'm expecting this one to be a lot tighter, as now the Keke Jensei still leading in the Mercedes ahead of Kerem, who's doing an excellent job, and now Kerem has taken the lead in qualifying. So it's all going off here. Kerem certainly feeling a lot more comfortable around Brazil. He already raced at it yesterday, he looked pretty quick. He's looking fast at the moment with Ice-T in 3rd position. Darth FIFA, not the best qualifier, sitting in 4th, but he's doing alright so far. Sem, interestingly, on the mediums, Matthias, so clearly doing a great job in 6th as the Keke Jensei comes out of the final corner up the hill using all the power that he's got. Looks like the Keke Jensei is going to put that Mercedes on pole position, and what a good first lap, and there you go.
Oh, 7.1.
Brilliant stuff, and I'll tell you what, if we took all of the times from all 4 races, that would have put him on the front row with only Phil Smith ahead of him. Excellent job from the Keke Jensei. Kerem with a 1 minute 7.4.
Yeah, amazing.
Brilliant stuff from him. Ice-T driving in the Haas today, usually more familiar to the Racing Point in 3rd. Darth FIFA backing his beloved Williams that you and I probably have more fonder memories of from previous times. But in 4th, Luke and Nick doing a good job. 5th, Sem in 6th place, the VRL champion, but let's not forget on the medium tyres, so it would explain the pace deficit, so expect him to be a factor in the race.
It's a good strategy.
It's a good strategy, but the race is so short, I'm wondering if that's going to pay off for him.
In the end, might will be.
I mean, the worry is that he's going to have a lot of guys on the softer tyre really getting after him in the first couple of laps. If he can survive that, he might be okay, but it'd be interesting dynamic to see as we're about to get underway for the for the 4th and final race of these qualifying trials for VRL. And of course, if you are new to VRL, make sure to like, share and subscribe to the channel, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And if you're interested, you want to get involved in league racing and you want to sign up, you can still do that. Check the website, check the Insta and Twitter pages. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to sign up for reserve slots, so don't worry if you don't get a drive. There's only going to be 60 spots available in VRL F1, F2 and F3, so don't be discouraged if you don't get a spot straight away. Keep interested, keep your eyes open for updates. There's going to be plenty of reserve driver slots where more often than not, Matthias, people drop out, people can't commit, and then present your opportunity to go and show everyone what you're capable of and perhaps get yourself a permanent seat in the future. And of course, guys, before we get underway, as we mentioned earlier on, we're obviously our new sponsors, IGK Esports. Make sure to check those guys out. Follow them on Instagram, IGK Esports, and Twitter as well. Excellent racing esports team, and of course, our sponsors for this season, who we are very happy and proud to be working in collaboration with this season, alongside our other title sponsors, Hot Lap Mode as well. Some of the best guys in the biz bringing you all the latest content, not only for VRL, but also for the real Formula 1 world as well. And I've got to say, I tend to use them quite a lot myself. I'm not biased in this, believe me. They really are great in terms of getting the inside news and the latest scoops, usually quicker than most mainstream F1 related media companies. So yeah, good kudos to them, excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Just to the formation lap, Matthias. Given what we've seen in the first race,
Yeah, in the
I'm
first
sure some of
race.
these guys would have watched some of that as well to see how the conditions. It's the same conditions that we had before in the first race, and of course, so the strategy I'd imagine will be exactly the same as it was before. Is there anybody in particular, and of course I'm just looking at Sem as one in the Ferrari in 6th place, but is there anyone else in particular that you think has a good opportunity to really show them what they can do in this race? There's a lot of names in this list.
Yeah, I hope Karam will do good in this race, and I think he'll be feeling the pressure from Thomas and ISD, and I think Sam actually will be the fastest one in the final laps of this race, and I hope that he can do good with his reverse strategy.
Well, of course, guys, there's no safety car, just to remind you, as it was yesterday. Still mulling over whether we're going to run that for VRL this season, but it's produced some fantastic racing not having it. But of course the safety car does tend to be a good equaliser in other races, but we'll digress on that as we're about to get underway, Matthias. Hopefully this time we won't have any glitches in that. But this one is shaping up to be
amazing.
The mouth-watering prospect as we're about to get underway for the final race of the qualifying trials here at VRL, sponsored by IGK Esports.
As we are seeing the lights, 5 red lights, and away we go. It's a good start from the Mercedes. I think, yes, he is on pole still. Karam gets a bad start. The Haas of Nick Maniagrin gets a good start. It's a bit glitched, the leaderboards all ghosting, so no contact can be made. Sam has a good start in his run already up to P4. I think I can see, you can see Karam still in P2, Haas behind him, and the Mercedes leads from turn 1 like filled it in last, and it's contact. The Red Bull has been spun around with the McLaren, and it's a 4-way collision. Big contact in turn 3.
Yeah, not sure what caused that, if I'm honest. I was busy watching at the front. I was impressed by Sem.
Yeah, on those mediums.
On the medium tyres, not clearly having the best rubber, and you can see, I'm just looking at his predicted strategy. Although I imagine it's going to be interesting to see if he pits a bit earlier, because of course those softer tyres can do 9 or 10 laps in this race. So
they can go all the way.
Exactly, so those medium tyres might not be on for as long as you think, but up into 4th, despite being on the harder rubber, not having the best tyres to get away like the others, but a great start already up into 4th place. Kerem doing a good job staying in 2nd with IC. The top 3 completely untouched now, but Darfiva all over the back of Sem, of course, cannot use DRS until the next lap. So for now it's just going to be the battery, but what a great opening lap that was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's glitching the session.
It is a bit on
it says Thomas is in P1. But Thomas is still in P5.
It's a bit all over the place, guys, so we'll do our best to make sure we keep you up to date with what's going on. One thing we can say, in the lead at the moment is the Keke Jensei in the Mercedes, Kerem 2nd, IC 3rd, top 3 untouched at the moment. Sem in the Ferrari, VRL reigning defending champion, clearly needs to make a response to Phil Smith's earlier pace in 4th position. Darth FIFA in 5th in the Williams. Then we have Kanda John about 7 seconds back in the Renault. Jay Custers 04 in 7th. Just Chris up into 8th despite starting at the back of the grid. Despite getting caught up in that incident in turn 4, doing a good job so far. Luca Nick in 9th. Picomaniac Run, Lion Games and Keller EU rounding off the order at the moment. Now about to start lap 4 of 18.
Yeah, I got a clean start at the top 5. The rest has an incident, and it's a massive gap between Cam de Jong, as he has been overtaken by Jacob Custer, who's been caught up in the accident in lap 1. It's now lap... Oh, just Chris gets a time penalty for speeding into the pit lane.
Yeah, clearly looking to try and get a massive undercut on everyone with the softer tyres. We mentioned that the softer tyres can go a long way. He did have front wing damage as well by the looks of it, so he's having that change. So this log is a bit all over the place in terms of glitching. As we said, guys, we'll have to keep you updated, but Chris clearly did not want to get a penalty there. That's really compromised his strategy a little bit. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out for him later on, but we still have the top 5 I should say, all running nose to tail, especially Darth Fever all over the back of Sem, and that would be on account of Sem using the medium tyres. If Sem can hold on to the front 3, stay within DRS, or at least if Darth Fever passes him, he will be in a good position to win this race later
Yeah.
on with the softer tyres on. So right now in a great position as now DRS has been activated. We should start to see some overtakes, but Darfifa clearly losing ground to Sem there down the back straight. He was right on top of him, not able to use DRS to effect as Sem locks his brakes into turn 1. The Keke Jense setting the fastest lap, getting on with it, trying to clear the DRS, trying to clear the slipstream for the cars behind him. But I tell you what, the 5 cars all running, as we said, nose to tail. This is going to be an exciting one.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's a little bit slippery in the exit of turn 4. But yeah, in the front everything is clean, all between 7/10 of each other. Behind them is a big gap of 8.7 seconds and a 3-second gap, 10 second, again a 10-second gap, and all 2.9 second gaps. But it's been quite clear at the front so far, but no really overtaking opportunities have been committed by the driver so far. But I think Sam has the advantage of the strategy here.
Well, it's certainly the calm before the storm at this point in time. Of course, Sam running is a different race to the guys in and around him, and of course that will come very apparent to them later on if they cannot seem to clear.
Oh, he goes right into the pits. Early pit stop.
So, as predicted, I did say that those medium tyres were not going to be on for long. Sem clearly thinks he's found a gap in the midfield. Hopefully he doesn't get caught up. He's going to put on them fresh, softer tyres. He's got to slow down. Ferrari, very quick with the pit stop. Seems to be the only time that they're ever quick at the moment in Formula 1. But Sem coming in and now let's have a look at Sem's pace. Clearly a man knows what he's doing in VRL. He's got the credentials. He's the reigning defending champion, looking speedy as ever, especially in the social tournament as well that we had early on. If you haven't seen that, definitely recommend to check that out. Some great racing there. We'll have to keep an eye on his pace. Just Chris setting the fastest lap of the race on the softer tyres. You know, as impressive as it is for Chris, you should point out Phil's lap earlier was about 9/10 of a second faster on medium tyres, so it shows what kind of pace is out there. But I'm looking forward to seeing what lap Sem can put in now. Let's see what the other guys do. Will they respond? Probably say no. It's probably too early for them to do that.
Yeah, they're all staying out, I think. Yes.
Yeah,
Thomas as well.
There'd be no point trying to cover that up because you'd be on the medium tyres and Sem will be just too fast on those softs. So their only hope is that they can stay out as long as they can, manage the pace. And this is what I was saying about overtaking Matthias. I think they're just going to hopefully manage their pace now. They know that if they start battling each other rather than pulling each other along as they are at the moment, that's just going to play into Sem's hands, and they will have nothing to fight him with at the last part of the race. But to be honest, assuming that Sem doesn't have an incident, donning the famous Michael Schumacher helmet, as we can see there, one of the most iconic helmets in Formula 1.
Yeah.
And quite fitting at the moment in the Ferrari, driving at the speed. And Chris has obviously heard what I've said there because he set a new fastest lap as well. So his pace is looking very good. So Chris, about 13.5 seconds behind Sem. He may be a factor later on in this race as well, although he's going to be on very old soft
Sem
tyres.
going for it. Down the run, and they make a little bit of contact there actually. The Renault still hangs on to it down the inside, both on softs. Yeah, Sem wins it on the traction.
But I think in fairness to Sem, Can de Jong didn't really give him much room at all. Probably should have given him a bit more space, but Sem's managed to get out of that one relatively unscathed. And we'll carry on as we're going. But as we're saying, yeah, his pace is going to be very key now. We're going to literally be monitoring it as this race unfolds. And as we said before, if the front four, perhaps the front three in this case, battle each other too much rather than pull each other along, when they put the medium tyres on, they'll have nothing to fight Sem with later on, and Sem might have cleared them after the pit stops. But those soft tyres may start to fade away towards the end of this race, and that's where their chance will be. But at this point, you've got to say, Sem has practically caught them all with their pants down in terms of strategy. What a great job this could turn out to be for him.
Yeah. As Cam is now really pushing to the back of the Mercedes, so he will be having to hope for revenge. What happened to him in the last range? Redemption this time. So he'll be having 2 quality trials, and hopefully he can score a win this time out. And Sem is, if my maths are right, is 21 or 22 seconds behind Gekke Jensi. So that will be a close one on the pit exit.
As Darth for the first of our leading drivers of pit, he was starting to fall away a bit from the top three, uncharacteristically not really up there with the front three.
Where is he going to rejoin?
I'll be expecting Darth Fever to be a bit faster, but clearly
it's going to be a close one with Sam.
Well, Sem's already getting to turn one, so I think Sem, as you see there, pit window open, I think Sem may get him here. Yeah, he has him. See, look at that. So that's the difference, Matthias. Sem was just ahead of Darth Fever, made the earlier pit stop, hasn't had the biggest of undercuts. So Sem hasn't really unleashed the full pace of them soft tyres as yet. Maybe he's trying to manage them for the opening few laps of this stint before he gets after them later on. But as you can see there, on the fresh rubber, already ahead of Darth Fever, about a second he's found in those couple of laps of undercuts. So there's no guarantees, but if he carries on at his current pace, he will be very close.
In terms of Karam into pits. Ice-T as well.
This could be a key one. Now we're going to really see where Sem stacks up in this order now as he comes through the final corner to go up the hill. I mean, technically the final corner's here, although I don't count that as a corner. These Formula 1 cars make that look like mincemeat. Now Karam puts on the medium tyres, as does IT, as expected. Karam getting a slightly faster pit stop, but Sem now coming up to turn one. Not as close to turn one as he was when Darth FIFA was coming up the pit. So I'll tell you what, Karam...
Ice-T Ice-T has damage. He has damage. He crashed into the pit lane. Doing Romain Grosjean in the Romain Grosjean car.
Yeah, no, so he did, exactly. He did the, maybe it was Ericsson, who knows. But
who knows?
Yeah, no, he did the same thing that Stein did yesterday as Sem gets a time penalty. But interestingly enough, Sem 2.5 seconds behind Karam. So in all of that, Sem has actually lost time. So there was me praising him for that strategy call earlier, but clearly he's not been able to switch those softer tyres on. He hasn't set a fastest lap of the race as we expected, and this makes things a little bit more interesting.
Leader in the pits. Well, what's Karam or he'll rejoin?
Well, this is it. That one lap undercut from Karam, and Karam has looked very fast since he's put the medium tyres on. Fastest man on the track in the last few sectors. So those medium tyres are really switched on now as the Keke Gensei's made his stop now coming through. This is going
Karam will have it. Karam will have it, I think. Come on, Karam.
This is going to be very close.
Come on.
Turn one now. As the Keke Gensei gets a little bit.
It's going to be so close.
On the exit. Karam
Karam has it. Amazing undercut.
And Karam has got it. The undercut, very, very effective from Karam there as he moves into the lead ahead of the Keke Gensei. And he will not like the side of that. But crucially, Sem still 2.5 seconds behind in third place. He's made up one position, but I'll tell you what, he's not going to be happy. Ice-T though must have had damage.
Yeah, he had damage.
He's
front wing end plates. Yeah, also the front wing flaps. Yeah, probably going to right in the thing. Phil Smith says the Gekke Gensei will be fast, I think as well, Phil, as he is fresher, 1 lap fresher tires, but he's behind. He'll have DRS, slipstream, everything on this straight. 3.5 tenths now behind Karam. Gets a little bit squirmy on the exit. Now overtake probably activated. There's lots of ERS to play with now on the inside of Karam. Going into the final official corner with the banking as well, as he now pulls in front of Karam, and the undercut has been made undone by the by the Mercedes car.
Yeah, it's an excellent job from the Keke Gensei. Got a great exit out of the final corner now. But Karam's going to have DRS in this second phase now. But as you can see, the Keke Gensei, looking at the onboards, has got so much more energy in the battery to use. He's got about nearly 70%, whereas Karam is languishing with just over about 25%. So clearly Karam using a lot of energy, a lot of energy to get into that position, but literally nothing to defend. But crucially enough, Matthias, you see now battle for 5th place between Custos and Just Chris. Just Chris was the first to put on those softer tyres, clearly putting them to good juice as he's recovering from the back of the field. But amazing enough, Sem on the softer tyres, we thought he was going to be like lightning, but if anything, he's just fallen behind the front too. Amazing to see how that has happened. Not sure if he's got damage that we can't see, but clearly that Ferrari not as fast on the softer tyres as it is on the mediums.
No, here was he just crashed F1. pushing to the Red Bull of J.K. Custer, who's been involved in the first lap incident, as the gekke Genji steals Chris his fastest lap, as he is now trying to overtake the Red Bull for P5. So he'll be doing an impressive performance if he finishes there. But now, side by side into the main straight, over start finish. He's now just in front before the timing line. He's going to for it, sending one around the outside, slingshot it. Yes, he has done it.
Great job.
Good clean move from the house driver. Yeah, as you said, great job from him.
But now he's going to have to defend because Custer's going to have literally no battery to defend him with, and he retakes position. So DRS very powerful there. Chris, both of them have literally less than 10% battery. So Chris had literally nothing to defend into turn 4, and Jake Custer's doing a great job on those much fresher medium tyres now, and this would be a critical part of the race for Chris because he's done so well on that alternate strategy with the damage to try and get back up the field and the penalties he's had as well. But now those softer tyres are going to start to fade away, and Custer's on the mediums looking very, very comfortable at the moment. Don't need to be surprised to see the Red Bull pull away, although DRS may save Chris in this case. But now they're coming up the hill, long run up the hill now. Chris right behind Custer. He's got a good run here. He's going to have DRS activated. He's got no battery to defend, to attack him with. Custer's does not use the overtake button to defend. They're going to be side by side into turn 1 as they were on the previous lap. Oh, Custer's lost the race, but he just about keeps Chris
good clean move
as Chris overtakes
yellow
him.
flag for Lion Games. He spun out of the final corner.
Yeah,
and he almost spun again.
As Custer's goes to the inside of turn 4, sorry Matthias, just as he did on the previous lap. And once again, Custer's making that move, but he's left a bit of room for Chris there as they have to run all the way up into turn 6 now. They're going to avoid any contact there. Chris looking to see if he can find an opening, but once again, as we saw, Custer's doing a great job to retake that position. Really calculated driving, and this is the sort of thing that the admins and the stewards are going to be very impressed with. Not necessarily the clean driving, that's a good thing obviously, but the fact that he's managed to lose a position and then resell himself, plan an attack in the next corner and get back ahead of Chris. If he can hold on to that, he'll finish ahead of him. But once again, Chris getting a great run up the hill. This is an exciting battle. This is where the battle is at the moment. Chris
Make a little bit of contact.
Make a little contact, but once again, for the 3rd time in a row, Chris goes around the outside, but he has 0 battery to attack him with. DRS alone goes into turn 1 round the outside, goes very wide. That's going to compromise his exit. That should allow Custers to get a bit of an under and over on him as he's engaged the overtake button. As you can see, Chris is trying to conserve battery. He has nothing to defend with, and that allows Custers to just breeze past him into turn 4.
3rd time in a row.
Well, this is it, Matthias. I was saying, Chris has used all his battery to catch and pass Custos, but he has nothing to defend with into turn 4. Alright, Custos doesn't have much himself, but he manages to save it in the middle sector here, as we can see, while he's ahead of the Hush driver. And this is where he builds it up, so he knows he'll get that move done in turn 4. He doesn't need to defend into turn 1. He knows he'll retake the position, and as long as he keeps doing that, he'll finish ahead of Just Chris at the end of this race.
Yeah, he is doing a great job with the calculating, as you said earlier. But I think he is really impressing the admins, as Chris now enabling overtake once again, so he has nothing to defend again. But I don't think he has to run this time. He is really good. What can he do? He's now trying to probably slingshot it around the outside. He can't. Cluster's defense really good again, as Chris now has again the DRS. And is he trying to do it this time where Clusters overtook him again? But Clusters has just a little bit more of ERS, and look how far he is falling behind on this straight while having DRS. Yeah,
you're right, and that's how powerful the overtake button is, Matthias. That's how powerful it is. If you have that energy saved up, Max Verstappen used to be brilliant at this sort of thing. He'd conserve his battery all the way through the lap in the slow corners where the Red Bull was fast, but on the straights where the Red Bull wasn't, he'd use the overtake button to keep his car ahead despite not having the DRS. And you saw right there, Custers putting that to great use, and now, effectively, Chris is going to have to come up with another plan now, because Custers knows where he's going to attack him. He knows where he's strong. He knows where he is
incident weak. With Lion Games, he crashed. I just tuned in.
Yeah, I've seen Lion Games race a few times in the past, and he's always been no stranger to having the odd incident or going off the road. So whilst he can show pace, he's really got to try and keep it clean and on the road. And unfortunately today,
is he going for it?
No, he's nowhere near. No. He's got no energy to defend. He's got DRS, but he's got no energy to attack. Whereas Custas still has that battery, and you're going to see right again. Watch this red ball now. It's probably going to pull away. There you can go. There you go.
Yeah.
He's left him for dead, and DRS opens up. But by the time Chris is able to take advantage of it, he's further behind the red ball than when he started. And this is what I'm talking about, Matthias. You can be fast, but Custas is this racing IQ right here, ladies and gentlemen. A prime example of how having a high racing IQ can really help you out in these situations. He knows what's happening with Chris. He knows where Chris is struggling. He knows where Chris is strong, and he's just using his car in the right manner and driving in the right way to keep the Haas behind, to the point now where the Haas isn't even trying to go alongside him. It's brilliant to see. I love this kind of stuff about Formula 1. It's not just about being fast. It's absolutely brilliant, and should be praising him. Of course, we've got racing going on at the front, but they're all spread out at the moment with the KK Jensen really pulling out the gap. But now Chris alongside Jay Custas again. Ooh. Part 7, I believe, in this ever-long saga. He's alongside him now, so close as he's been for a few laps. Is he going to be late on the brakes into turn 1? He
slingshotting one.
And that's a great overtake from Chris.
He's enabling overtake.
He's got a decent run.
And he's back at it again.
And there you go. And
it's so smart from him, and just Chris, and don't say he's dumb, but it's just he's being fooled every lap once again, and I think he is trying to get overtake. But if I would be him, I would take my ERS and overtake him where he always gets overtaken. Into turn 4, send one down the inside, job done on the last lap, nothing anymore to do, just keep it straight on the final straight.
Exactly. The only thing I would say if I was Chris, and this would be a bit, you know, in that position,
final lap,
he has to try and go to the inside on the run down to turn 4 a little bit earlier, so that you make Custas pass him around the outside. If he drives past him, fair enough, but on that last run, he really probably could have tucked to the left hand side. He's now got the overtake button engaged again, so we're going to see another. Who's it going to be, guys? I know we're supposed to be focusing on the leaders, but this is where the battle is right now. Is Chris going to be able to make the loop? I'll tell you what, he's not that close. He's got very late on the brakes.
Doing a switch back.
Tried it, but I think Custas...
This is smart.
But Custas is going to pull away once again. He's engaged overtake. There you go. How
countered as a track. Wow.
That's got to be... I'll tell you what, that's got to be so painful for a driver in Chris's position to do all of that to try and overtake the guy in front, and he just engages overtake and just drives away from you. And I think unless Custas makes a mistake in this final part of the lap, he's going to have that one covered off. This is a brilliant drive from him. Of course, we haven't factored in penalties. We should mention that, and I'm sure some of you in the chat are screaming for us to check them.
Jensen wins the final qualifying trial. Amazing scenes. Dominant victory.
And well done to Kerem, a guy that we've seen improve a lot. Sem in 3rd, didn't really work out.
Thomas is 3rd.
Oh, there you go, the penalty.
Oh, they're going for it. Final straight. He's going side by side, but I think Custas has more better. Oh, they make contact! Oh, Custas absolutely just...
Oh, my word.
Oh, he done so good, but just cuts him off. Shouldn't have done that.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Matthias. It was one of those where... Yes, Custas did leave a little bit of a gap, but there was never enough space for Chris to stick a Formula 1 car alongside him. And
it's a long straight, just to give him a little bit more space, you would have easily had him.
Possibly,
that's a shame.
It's one of those incidents where both drivers really should have been more aware of what was going on. We just talked about racing IQ a lot, but Custas a little bit lazy there covering the inside. And Chris saw a gap. You know, as the great late Ayrton Senna said, if you don't go for a gap, you're not a racing driver anymore. Chris certainly did, but there was never enough for him there. A bit of a shame for both drivers, because that was an excellent battle. But nonetheless, our race winner, we haven't mentioned much of him in the second phase, and
he's doing a dance.
Dance moves like that. Less said of that one, the better. But the KK Jensen, the race winner, excellent performance from pole to the win. Kerem in 2nd place. Excellent drive from Kerem, gotta say. He's improved from strength to strength and looks a pretty handy character on the F1 2020 game, so expect to see more of him perhaps in VRL maybe and other leagues as well. And of course, Darth FIFA, very quiet in this race, but takes the podium nonetheless as Sem gets a penalty in Matthias.
Amazing
Run
race.
through the final order.
Yeah, it's the final qualifying tour for VRL Season 5, with the Gekke Jancy winning it and having the fastest lap as well, leading almost every lap, getting pole and the fast lap and the race win. Caram Redemption from yesterday in P2, Thomas in P3, so he'll be probably happy with that. Being quiet but being there. Sam maybe should have expected more from his strategy. Nico Maniac run in P5 from P11, so he's done a good comeback. IST P6 after the embarrassing spin in the pit lane. Just Chris in P7 due to penalties. Kelle Euro is in P8, started P8, stays in P8. Jacob Custer with the DNF still in 9th. Kaan de Jong in P10. Lion Games and Luke both a lap down. That's your qualifying trail done.
Yeah, no, it was excellent stuff once again, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Of course, that is a bit of a taste of what we got to come for the season ahead. And of course, for those of you that are tuning into us for the first time, asking when will the 2020 season begin, when will season 5 begin, that will be the weekend of the 25th of July. So only a few weeks now, not a couple of weeks, not long to go at all before we get underway for VRL season 5 of F1, F2, and of course
F3.
Of course,
New
some
division.
of the race times. Exactly, some of the race times will be adjusted just so that you know, of course, to comply with the ever-changing schedule in the real Formula 1 world, and that will affect the F1 calendar, whereas F2 and F3 will be on Saturday evenings at 6 PM on the VRL YouTube channel, and that's the Hot Lap Mode VRL PS4, of course, sponsored by IGK Esports, so make sure to check those guys out as well. And Matthias, obviously, thank you once again for coming along. Obviously, as always, it's a pleasure commentating with you, and thanks for hosting this stream, guys. And for those of you looking forward to the next exciting installment of VRL, I am right there with you, and hopefully this season proves to be the best one yet. I'm pretty sure it will. Of course, we will see you then. Take care, and goodbye.
Have a good evening. It's been a pleasure to commentate with you, Adam. First time for me doing a VRL commentating episode, but it's been a pleasure. Hope to do something more in the future. Have a good day, everyone.